For most of my time as a gamer, I've liked small stories. I've liked long stories, campaigns that go on and on with the same characters as they progress from location to location and ability to ability and meeting new people and encountering new things. I like long stories, but I like small stories. I like stories focused on things which don't really matter to people outside of the adventuring group or the group of investigators or whatever format your PC group takes in character form. Outside of that circle of characters or the people that they're helping or or not helping, as the case may be, I like stories that only really matter to that small circle. I don't really get into the game to save the world or save the universe or whatever. I'm not really into those big, larger-than-life characters. I like small stories. I find this is true when I go to the films. I find this is true when I read books. I don't understand why when our superheroes from the comics get placed on the silver screen, the stakes have to be so high and why they need to escalate from film to film. I don't really think that makes for good storytelling, and I don't think it's necessary to make an engaging story. So I guess it should come as no surprise that I don't tend to be attracted to games where the premise is being that larger-than-life hero. I'm more attracted to games where I have the choice to be heroic. And it's not at all the same thing. But I don't even always play for the opportunity to choose between heroism and its opposite. A lot of the times I like to just explore the character. And it never really comes up to be heroic or not heroic. The question is just to be or not to be that character, or to develop or establish a character over time. And there, more than anywhere else, I like small stories. And I keep saying that, but what do I mean by that? Well, flashing back decades now to, or almost decades, I guess, to a Dark Ages vampire chronicle. Dark Ages was only out for a few weeks when we absolutely had to stop everything and start playing it. And as I've described before, we set up a massive campaign that involved an awful lot of players. But one of the more memorable aspects of that whole chronicle, from everybody's point of view, was something that happened to a very, very, very minor character. And this minor character became an ongoing aspect of play. And the situation I'm talking about is that my character was of noble birth and had a lot of retainers and hirelings and servants and whatnot. And one servant, through the alchemy that is the NPC, the storyteller who is running that session, something that I had said or something that another character in the scene had said caused this NPC servant, who had previously, of course, been nameless and pretty much colorless, to blossom into full life. And over the course of that session, developed into a fairly full-blown and interesting personality, who by the end of the session had annoyed me so much that I, in the role of my character, who was a certain Transylvanian type of vampire in Dark Ages, flesh-crafted him into an armchair. A living, screaming armchair. To teach him the very important lesson that he was there to support me in all things. And so he would begin as furniture, and if he performed that job well, he might be elevated to a more human status. And something about the image of this young, healthy person being manipulated, twisted, pulled, and popped and shaped into this form which could not move other than to breathe and to scream, affected the players on quite a profound level, and they wanted to know if I was ever going to let him out of this situation. And this was a question that would come up session after session. What was going on with this servant? And over the course of the session, of course, we followed our own plots and our own manipulations and our own politics with excruciating detail, but we never once forgot this particular character and his ongoing evolution from cowardly and accident-prone, poorly spoken servant into a very trusted right-hand man who eventually achieved the embrace through merit. It's an interesting story arc for this character to follow. I like the small stories. I like ones that grow from a very small seed that are significant only to those people around whom they're happening, that never matter in the grand scheme of things, but add real depth to the story. How about you? What small stories do you have to share?